Hey guys, back again with another video. I want to try to keep this one especially short, but I had another topic come to mind that I wanted to discuss with you guys. I actually went out the other night with a bunch of my high school buddies, and they're obviously aware that I've been making these videos, and I've had several discussions with each of them since the beginning of the pandemic on a lot of the issues that I'm discussing with you guys here in these videos. And unsurprisingly, a lot of them disagree with me on many of these topics. But I think this plays back to the idea that we each have our own perspective on life, our own perspective on truth and reality. And so, of course, we're not all going to see things the same way, and we're going to disagree. And that's totally fine. So anyway, the topic that I want to talk about in this video is the concept of subjective truth versus objective truth. So just to bring everybody up to speed, I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this concept, but objective truth is, a hard fact that's indisputable. So for example, the speed of light is 299,792,458 meters per second. That is an undisputed fact. Something like 2 plus 2 equals 4. This is another undisputed fact that's an example of objective truth. For better or worse, a lot of the things in our society that we consider truth fall into the category of subjective truth. So, and this is something that, again, the other night when I went out with my friends, we were having a discussion, and my friend was asking me a question, point blank, he said, is this true or is this false? And I basically said, hey man, listen, I wasn't there. I can't, this is not something that's, falls into the category of objective truth. This is not like 2 plus 2 equals 4. I said, 99.99% I believe that this is true, but I've got to leave, a 1 in a million, 1 in a billion chance, whatever it is, that maybe it's not true. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So the thing that keeps coming to mind that would be a good example of this, and I've realized this is an extremely controversial topic, but the concept of, whether or not the 2020 election was stolen. Because according to, most of our media, and politicians, especially on the left, they've said, the election has been certified by a panel of judges and it was 100% legitimate, it was not stolen. Well, unfortunately, you can't say that 100% because there are forces at play that we are not privy to. And the other thing too is that, so the election, which is being run by human beings, was then certified by a panel of other human beings. And then that message was delivered to the citizens, another group of human beings. All of these human beings are prone to error, and many times are prone to misinterpreting information. Like, we're not computers, we're not perfect. So when somebody says, 100% the election was not stolen, well, I'm sorry, but that's simply not true. I can go along with, yes, the election was, not stolen, 99.999%, whatever we want to say. But we need to leave some shadow of a doubt that maybe, in fact, there was some manipulation going on with the votes. I don't know. I have no idea, one way or the other, but I'm not going to go along and say, 100% that this is a cold hard fact, because that's simply not true. And I think that there's many of these type of examples where we take things as, objective truth, when in fact they're subjective truth. And so the point that I want to make here is that we need to understand the difference between, is something subjectively true or is it objectively true? You can always say objectively 2 plus 2 equals 4. But you can't make these declarations that something is 100% true that has been deemed true by a group of human beings, because that's just not a smart way to analyze what is truth and what is fiction. So I think that we really need to look at a lot of the so-called facts that we're being fed on a whole host of different issues, and think, is this subjective truth or is this objective truth? If it's subjective truth, you need to leave a shadow of a doubt that maybe what you're being told is not in fact true. And of course, this concept plays back into a whole host of different things that were being fed to us during the pandemic. They kept saying the vaccine is 100% effective. It's 100% safe. Well, now we know that it's not 100% effective because it doesn't stop transmission, which we found out, last year when everybody who was vaccinated was getting COVID. And what I keep saying too is because they kept drilling it into everyone's head, the vaccine is safe and it's effective, 100%. It's 100% safe and it's 100% effective. Well, the effectiveness part has already been called into question, as we all now know. And what I believe is that the safety is very soon going to be called into question. The CDC actually just admitted that there was 18 million vaccine injuries in the US. Now, I estimated, and I've got to double check this, but I think between about 65 and 70% of the American population was fully vaccinated. So if we do some quick math, that's about 200 million people. If 18 million people were injured badly enough that they had to seek medical care, that means that almost 10% of the people that received the vaccine were injured by it. So that's not safe in my book. So these are just a couple examples of, subjective reality versus objective reality, or subjective truth versus objective truth. And it's very important for us to make a distinction between the two, because otherwise what's going to happen is we're going to start to believe that subjective truth is objective truth, and they're not the same thing. They're two different things. And I believe that it's very important to know the difference and understand the difference, because the whole reason why this is so important is because the government and the people in power will use subjective truth, call it objective truth, and the population as a whole will start to believe it, and they will use that so-called truth to dictate different decisions that the population makes as a whole. And so that's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm bringing this concept to everybody's attention. It's very important to understand the difference. I hope you guys like this video. I will see you guys again soon. Take care.